What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to yet another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be discussing what are option sweeps and how to use them in your trading. So if you guys could, real quick, before we can hop into the video, make sure to click that like and that subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me, as well as clicking that bell icon so you do get notified every single time I upload a brand new video. Let's talk about how to use option sweeps for your trading. So real quick, what are option sweeps? So if you guys do use a flow scanner, you can see that there are a few different types of options that can pop up. You have sweeps, you have blocks, and then you have splits, which is not currently on this list. So essentially what an option sweep is it's a huge buyer coming in and sweeping the market, buying from multiple exchanges at the same time in order to fill all of their contracts. So if we're looking at this Riot option sweep that came in today for 910 $37 calls, they ended up buying 1,770 contracts at $222 each. Basically, what they are doing here is they are sweeping the entire book of all the exchanges in order to fill all of these 1,770 contracts because they want to get filled as quick as possible for the current price. So these option sweeps usually occur at the ask or above the ask, again, because they want to get filled on all of their contracts. And that is essentially what also happened here with the 939 contracts. They wanted to get filled as quick as possible, so they bought at the ask or even above the ask in order to sweep all of the option books and get filled on all 939 of these contracts. So option sweeps, they are not one big order. Like, again, let's use this 1,770 contract order. They are not putting in one exact order at that price. These option sweeps are going to come in different varieties. So it could be an order of 50 and then 60 and then 4s, 5s, and 10s all the way until it adds to 1,770. So it's never going to be one huge order that sweeps the market. It's generally a bunch of smaller orders that sweep the option books in order to fill this trader as quick as possible. Again, they are getting filled from multiple different exchanges, not just one exchange like the NASDAQ. Maybe they're getting filled by the NASDAQ, the BATS, SIBO, so on and so forth. So they're getting filled from different exchanges at the same time. And again, it's usually at the ask price or even above the ask price. So if you guys did not see my last video on what options flow is, make sure you do watch that first. Again, I'm making a few videos and making this a series on how to use options flow in your trading, and I explained basically what options flow is in that last video. But the primary focus of this video is specifically the option sweeps. So again, when we see these option sweeps, generally we do not want to just fill one of these orders. Like if I only saw one order of the Riot $37 call and they put $392,000 into the trade, I'm more than likely not going to follow it. However, if I see 13 different orders for the same exact contracts and multiple sweeps, I know there are multiple buyers that are trying to sweep the entire market book and they're getting filled at the ask price because they want to get filled as quick as possible. And if we look at all of these option premiums, this order was for $392,000, this one $483,000, $406,000, $421,000, so on and so forth. But they were sweeping this contract a ridiculous amount. So now that you know what option sweeps are and generally the trading psychology behind it, again, a trader wants to get filled as quick as possible on these contracts. We can now see where these traders were buying them, how much they were paying per contract, and what exchange even sold them the contracts. So if you're using ThinkorSwim, this is going to be the easiest way to figure out if these contracts were actually buys or sells. So again, we're looking at the Riot $37 call expiring 9/10, and they started buying these at around 1:37 p.m. So if you go to the Riot option chain and you come down here to this little configure filters button, you're going to select side. And again, this was a call in this scenario, so we want to make sure we choose call. Then you're going to check series. This expired next week for September 10th. And then you're going to come down to strikes. You're going to select that. And they were sweeping the $37 calls. So we want to select 37. And then on this side, the same thing, the 37, because that's all we want to see. And then we want to keep all the exchanges, we want to keep the quantity, and then we want to keep the price. Now, if we go to the option time and sales, and again, they started buying these at 1:37 p.m., we want to scroll down to that 1:37 p.m. and see if they were actually buys or if they were sells. So if we keep scrolling down here is where they started sweeping these contracts. Again, they are in green, meaning that they were buying them at the ask. So at the very beginning of 137 is going to be all the way down here. And you can see at 137, these were multiple different orders coming in different quantities. So there was a 100, 182, 2, 9, 11, 19, 10. So they're all different types of orders. However, the trader wanted to get filled on that full quantity right here. Therefore, they had to send in multiple different orders to multiple different exchanges. So if you're looking at the exchanges, you can see that they're getting filled from the Box, BATS, BEST, NASDAQ, and a bunch of other different exchanges on these contracts. So as soon as 137 started to pop up, boom, you can see they are sweeping those September 10th $37 calls. And if we continue to scroll up, just take note of these different quantities on the contracts. It's not one huge order that they're getting filled on. It's a bunch of smaller orders that they're getting filled on from different exchanges and at different prices. So again, if we keep scrolling up, you can see the amount of quantity coming through for these contracts. And this was the entire minute of 137. They were just sweeping a ton of these contracts and they were getting filled all over the place, different prices, and essentially just buying a ton of these contracts. So now after you go to your option time and sales and you make sure that they were actually buying these contracts, the next thing you want to do is actually go to the expiration. So these are going to be those September 10th $37 calls. As you can see, the volume today was 42,397. So there was a ton of volume that went into these contracts. Now, as far as the open interest, going into tomorrow, the volume is going to turn 0. And the people that ended up keeping these $37 calls will then be reflected in the open interest. So the open interest is going to be higher tomorrow depending on how many contracts were kept. So essentially, if all 42,000 of these contracts that were bought today are still being held tomorrow, this open interest should be around 44,000 tomorrow morning. So you saw all the huge option sweeps coming in. Again, they were buying it at the ask, getting filled for multiple different exchanges. You went to the option time and sales and you made sure it was actually buying. The next thing you want to do is actually look at the chart. So the chart is the most important in this scenario because they could be short on Bitcoin, but as a hedge, they buy Riot calls. If you don't know what Riot is a Bitcoin mining company. So it's basically going to follow what Bitcoin is doing. So again, if they wanted to hedge their Bitcoin short position, they could end up buying a ton of calls in Riot to hedge a larger position that they're afraid to lose money on. So it's always very important to look at the technicals themselves. So we're looking at Riot. These are basically at the money contracts because Riot is currently at 36.84. It's holding above the 5 and 8 EMA and it is building a squeeze on the daily time frame. However, there is a major resistance at this $38 area, which it ended up hitting today. So you always want to confirm with the actual technicals what's going on. If you see something pop up like Riot, you can always go to the Bitcoin chart and you can see what Bitcoin is doing to get a better understanding about where Riot can go. Bitcoin is currently breaking out of this little bull flag right here, so it could see a continuation going to the upside. But again, it is very important to actually look at the chart and figure out if it is actually buying or selling, because you never want to buy an option sweep if the technicals do not make sense. I've seen too many people lose money that way, and it's not very smart to do. They could also be buying this based off of this inverse head and shoulders right here, or this ascending triangle. But that is basically everything you want to do with these option sweeps. So again, one more time, an option sweep is basically when a big trader comes into the market and sweeps the entire order book, getting filled in multiple different quantities on their order, and essentially they are buying at the ask price and getting filled from multiple different exchanges. You can always go to the ThinkorSwim option time and sales tab and filter it out in a way so you can see if they were actually buying those contracts. And it looks like around 2,000 of them were actually sold after the Riot contracts shot up a decent bit from where they bought them. But once you go to the option time and sales and make sure they were actually buys, then you look at the chart. As long as everything lines up, you can feel free to follow those sweeps. So in the last option sweeps video, I ended up talking about the Snapchat ones that were coming into the market as well as Tesla. Well, these Snapchat ones that we ended up following increased by $200 per contract, as well as those Tesla ones that went absolutely insane and profited a very good amount. But that's going to wrap up today's video on how to use option sweeps in your trading, as well as what option sweeps are. Again, I'm going to be making multiple videos in this series, so make sure you do comment down below if you would like to see more of these types of videos. Other than that, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your day. Make sure to click that like and that subscribe button, as well as clicking that bell icon. Other than that, everybody enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.